Hello, everyone. Today is day 17 of learning Spanish. I got a comment and he said that I should show a little bit more in detail about exactly what I'm doing, how I approach my uh, my studies, my daily doings, and which is completely fair enough because I haven't really been showing much on camera. Simply, a large reason being just because of the lighting, it's not so good. But I'm going to do it anyway, and I think it'll work. I think yeah. But yeah, not that there's much to it really, because I really don't like to put a large amount of effort into my routine, because then I wouldn't do it consistently. So it's a pretty easy sort of task that I'm doing, and so it's quite simple. So I'm going to show you guys exactly what I'm doing, or at least exactly what I've done today, and then which is exactly what I do every single day. I just do it in a slight. I just do a different story each time. I just do a different variation. So I'm just going to show you exactly what I've done. So this, when you use Link, you get the opportunity to read a bunch of stories. And so what I've done, which I've mentioned in the other videos, is that I've written down the stories in Spanish. I'm not sure if this is the best method for um, people who are coming from different languages. I know for me as a native English speaker that this is beneficial. I'm very familiar, obviously, with the Latin alphabet, so writing in Spanish is no problem to me at all. But obviously, if you're Russian or you're Chinese, that might be a problem, and so maybe writing down the stories might not be the best option for you guys. But I'm gonna show exactly what I'm doing, and in hopes that that might give some people some insight. So anyway, I keep holding my book up. Um, yeah. So yeah, obviously you'll notice I've written down the Spanish um, in sort of the first sentence, and the next sentence I'm doing English, but I'm translating the words. Um, yeah, just like that. It's really simple. So Spanish sentence, English translation of the words, like just underneath. It's not the sentence. Like I mentioned in other videos, it's not the translation of the sentence. In Link, you have an ability to click on the words, and it gives you the definition, and that's very helpful. So um, I write down the story, I click on the words, I look at all the definitions, and I write the definitions of the words underneath in English, which helps me. So anyway, I've got this in a square here. Look, I don't practice on pronunciation, but obviously the first says, Carmen está en un restaurante. Carmen, she is in a restaurant. Ella tiene una cita con Saúl. So she has a date with Saúl. Um, how romantic. Anyway, I could keep reading the whole thing, but I won't, because I'll save you guys and myself some embarrassment. But because at this stage I'm not prioritizing my speaking. I have a rough idea of how things are pronounced, and so that's all I need for the moment, really. I can dial in on that stuff a little bit later on in the journey. But this is the bulk of what I'm doing every single day. So this is part A, actually. Sorry, I forgot to mention. The exact same story I've written down in part B, which you'll notice is the exact same. It's just coming from a slightly different perspective. It's coming from you sort of, yeah, you're telling the story. So instead of Carmen está en un restaurante. I struggle to say that. Now it's yo estoy en un restaurante. So yeah, so it's not Carmen's in a restaurant. It's I'm in a restaurant. I'm going on a date, and yeah, the story's coming from my perspective. So that's all part B is about. It's pretty much the same words. However, it's still extremely important to do because I find a lot of the words change. It just seems to be something in Spanish when you talk from your own perspective. Obviously, this is a common thing, but I don't. This is the way I learn. Like this is like I'm freestyling this method, really. Like I haven't searched up rules on grammar or like any of that stuff in YouTube. The only thing I've searched up um, outside of this of my made up process of writing of sorry my method of writing these stories now. The only other practice I've done outside of that is watching a YouTube video on like the very basics. Por favor, gracias, you know, como estás, stuff like that. That absolute basics. So that's the only other thing that I've done outside of these, outside of writing down these stories. Anyway, what was the point of me telling you that? What was the point? Anyway, so obviously, yeah, I'm not going to be able to reference um, obvious, like, I'm not sure if any you learners out there, because you've probably done a little bit more research on me on like the how you're on being taught like the rules and stuff like that, but I don't know anything. But what I do know is that it is different when you write it from your perspective, from a different person's perspective. When you say she does this, she does this, you know, or you do this, it changes. Or I want to do something, or she wants to do something, the words change slightly. What's a good example of that? Mm, mm, I don't know what an example is, but you know what I mean. It's like it's like ella quiere una pantalla grande para su ordenador, and then for from your own perspective, it would be yo quiero una pantalla grande para mi ordenador. Anyway, that was a terrible example. But anyway, there was pretty much like masculine and feminine suffixes and stuff like that that changed slightly. Anyway, but it's good to get used to when you write both perspectives. That's all I do. That is literally all I do. So the next day, what I will do tomorrow was, of course, instead of writing Historia 13, I would be writing Story 14, which is available, of course, on the link website when you it's a paid thing, so you don't have to pay money. I'm sure there's plenty other free options like stories you could find online and stuff like that, but that is it. That's all I do. So, but obviously, if that is not specific enough, or there's something that you're curious about, don't be afraid to comment it at all. This is a learning journey and space, and I'm more than happy to show you guys exactly the way I do things with full transparency. So if you guys are curious about anything that I'm doing, or perhaps you have suggestions of what I should be doing better, um, even though I think for the most part this is I've started off in I think a good direction, drawing upon my knowledge of how I learnt Chinese, although that's way different. But perhaps there's different ways, more efficient ways, better ways that I should be exploring even at this stage. So don't be afraid to chat about that stuff at all. I don't care. If you're critical on my method or any of that, don't be afraid. I'm willing to take a look at everything and take everything into consideration. So that sounds good. If you guys want to see anything else, just let me know. All right, have a good night.